All right, so I think the first thing that I would like to talk about that is probably the most relevant thing right now in the community is everybody talking about doing customs for colleges. I originally wasn't I wasn't going to talk about this. I think it was Night Owl Customs that said that we should talk about it on an episode. And I originally was like, well, there's not a
Shout
whole
out to
lot
Dante.
Yeah, shout out to Dante. But I was really like, there's not a whole lot to talk about. But I would like your guys' opinions on moving forward. We know that colleges aren't okay with custom shoes unless they are directly from the college, and even then.
Well,
right?
then what's weird about that is the post that I tagged you in last night.
Yeah,
you saw that, right?
No. But did you see the account that it was under?
Yeah, it was by the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sean talked about this on his story.
Oh, wait, what post was it?
So the I think Big 12 conference posted like a giveaway, and they posted like 10 to 12 mock-ups of their different schools. And it was a collab with Kickstradamus, and it was all mock-ups, and it was like, I don't know, comment to win your size or whatever. And so they were all Air Force One mock-ups and had the logos and everything. And that was just so weird to see the same week that another college, which is in a different conference for what it's worth, got, Austin's page shut down.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I guess, so where do you guys think that customizers should go from here?
Well, I mean, like a simple answer that, Sean alluded to, and Zach, you do, is like, do all original work. But I think that right away, that's a huge hit to, the entire market of custom sneakers. So much is built around traditional IP and bringing those visions to life. And, Sean creating trophy pieces, masterpieces that go up on people's mantles and their man caves of their favorite show, something they've been watching for years, or doing stuff for sports teams, something that you put in a guy who has a man cave and he's watching the Bears every weekend. He's going to have a Bears pair on display and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate to see, that happen to Austin, because, Instagram's a lot of people's lifeline.
Yeah.
Basically, for their business.
Yeah. What do you think, Sean? Do you think it's as simple as just like, don't do that, just do original work?
I think you can. I think it depends on what it is. You also have to kind of be smart about it. It's like when it comes to NCAA, NFL, NBA, or like sports teams, I think it's more of a big deal because they have merch with their logos, right? You're getting shirts, you're getting sweaters, you're getting pants. I think they even do have some kind of like slippers or shoes, or like even cheap sneakers. So I feel like if you're doing anything that could potentially take money away from them with their brand and their logo, that's when it becomes more of a problem, right? Like if I'm doing Dragon Ball Z shoes with Goku plastered on the side of it, it's a little bit more of an artistic standpoint, but also you don't have any sneakers out there with Goku on the side of it, right? Like it's like when people do like the Stewie Griffin theme. And I remember when Johnny got his page removed and people thought it was because of that design. I think he said it wasn't, but people thought that because now you're taking a design that Nike already did that could potentially, cause them to lose money if the shoes are still on sale, because you're now taking that design and basically duplicating it. So I feel like if there's certain things to do it, but then don't post it. I have plenty of shoes that I've made for people and like that I don't post. Right.
Yeah, I like that.
If people ask you, you can send it to them, but you don't have to put it on your social media for the world to see and run the risk of stuff like that happening.
Well, I think some people also started posting disclaimers, in their captions and stuff, saying that this is not affiliated with Nike or whatever, or this is one of one. And I think that's
going to matter.
But legally, that's where it's separated to where you're not mass producing a product. You're not, something isn't for sale. When you're just creating one-off fan art, essentially, that's different than it looking like you're putting something into production.
Well, yeah, but I think most of the time they know or figure something is still.
I don't think
don't
they
care.
do. I don't
No,
think
I'm
they do.
saying like when it comes to like NCAA stuff, they don't care if you say it's one of one and it's not like a collaboration. I think some people take their logos and branding a lot more serious than others. And I think when
Yeah,
it
for
comes
sure.
to
For
yeah,
sure.
I think NFL, NCAA and stuff are one of those.
I also like so when I first heard about this, my first thought was, well, first of all, I felt really bad for Jar because I remember whenever Shoemaker's account got taken down too, like regardless of the reason why, that's like Dylan's super right. I mean, like some people that's literally their major outlet for selling and for making a living.
Why was
Um,
Nick's taken down?
I
I
think he got
actually,
reported for mass producing, or somebody said he was selling bootlegs.
Okay.
yeah, I think that's what it was. Um, but so my second thought was, um, you know, we've known about this forever. I mean, I can't not just about colleges, but like anything. I mean, anything with an IP, like this is the risk you run. It's like it's how a lot of art goes, it's how a lot of graffiti goes. Like you're choosing your canvas and you're choosing what you paint on your canvas all the time. And if you choose to go this route and build the foundation of your business on this, then I would hope that you understand what you're getting into, and
Yeah.
that was kind of you know on that level, I think that everybody knows the risk that they're taking whenever they do something like this. And I think it brought up another interesting idea to me where like I see all the time different brands like Warren Lotus, Nike went
Mhm.
after him, John Geiger, Nike went after him. And it brought them a lot of fame. Like really elevated everything that they were doing. Same with Mischief, bro. Like you look at all these companies that have knew what they were doing and took full advantage of the quote unquote consequences of it as well. And I think that's the difference for customizers is like whenever the brands reach out and they're like, or shut down your Instagram, it's like you're out. Everything's gone. Because it's not really like when you're doing things for colleges, it's not that like interesting, as a story. It's hard for Complex or Highs Nabaya to pick up a story that says customizer's account got shut down because he painted an Alabama logo on a pair of shoes. But like it's interesting to me thinking, who's gonna take the risk of doing something like that isn't just painting these like IPs or maybe going a step further, like towards the Mischief side of things. I think that's an interesting thought.
I think it's different because their model is more so making a product to where customizers are quote unquote doing more so the art thing, right? Like them getting shut down or something for their sneakers, they tweak something and then they could still just send it back to the factory and mass produce the sneaker. So they can
Yeah,
still monetize and mass produce and still make money. To whereas if you're a one-on-one artist taking commissions, I mean, you can only make one shoe at a time.
yeah. Well, yeah. I guess by yourself. Yeah. What were you say, Dylan?
Couple things that came to mind is I know that like the NCAA actively has services that are out searching for this stuff, whereas some of these other IPs aren't, doing that specifically. They shut down my Facebook page years back. I told you guys. I know I've brought that one up on here years before. But I think it's unfortunate for customizers that it's such a gray area, in that we've seen artists work directly with the IP and stuff. I've literally been in Brooklyn inside their merch shop, selling shoes with their logo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate that there's it's as you were saying, Zach, everyone goes into this knowing that there's some level of risk, but yet then it's just kind of somewhat luck of the draw of when it happens, who it happens to. I think Austin even said that it was a pair from 18 months ago. You know what I mean? So like, how did those sort of just get discovered now?
Dude, that's even scarier. Like the fact that the entire catalog of shoes you've ever put on Instagram are
Mhm.
at risk of fucking you over.
Mhm.
I guess honestly, if the best thing you can do now at this point is if you're somebody making those kinds of shoes, then to at least put some thought in and consider archiving some of those shoes from the past, if not all of them that you don't think are like relevant to your business right now. Because because if you can limit the risk of it, then it's better than doing nothing and just hoping it doesn't happen, you know?
And with sports teams, I feel like there's so many different levels of people you have to go through for approval of stuff.
Mhm.
Because you not only have, you know, like the team itself, but you also have merch, and then you have the building, right? Where you can get permission from somebody from the building to make something with their team logo, but you know, there's so many people higher up than the marketing people for the team that you would have to really talk to actually get approval, that it's kind of really hard to gauge just because that one person saying it's okay, the amount of different people that are involved in a
Right.
sports organization.
Yeah, no, I think that's dead on, dude. That's why I appreciate anybody that hasn't listened to our last episode with Bull Ayers, then please go listen to that, because he was talking about how he was able to obtain a conversation and dialogue with the people that he needed to actually get
interesting?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like transparency is a privilege, not a right nowadays. Like you have to fight for it. And Bull Ayers was talking about how he literally essentially had to get big enough and sell enough shoes to which the company reached out and was like, hey, fucking like you're gonna give us any of that money?
Yeah. He said like verbatim, you got to like make some noise to get noticed, you know?
Yes. And you know, everybody knows that has tried to do that. It's not that easy, you know. And even Jar, he made enough noise to get noticed, but they didn't exactly reach out to him and tell him, hey, we're looking, you know, we want some of that money that you made. They're just like, get the fuck out of here. So Dylan's totally right, where transparency is at an all-time low. And I don't know, there's not, it feels kind of powerless, I think, from our perspective. But where I think the power does lie is we will always have the choice of what we make and what we paint on. So I think you know, somebody brought up the idea of like blackballing painting college logos, and I don't know that is necessarily the solution to it, but I think it's
someone said blackballing it.
Yeah, I think it was actually Dante.
Well, when people say blackballing it, I take it as you're going to do like to make a stand, like they're going to lose money or they're going to care. It's not going to
maybe blacklisting. Blacklisting.
Oh, blacklisting. That's
yeah,
the
it's like
one.
you say
Not
blackballing. Like,
blackballing.
oh, we got to make a stand, man. Make them. They're not going to make any money off of us. They don't care.
Yeah, blacklisting. Thank you.
Right.
No, which I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's really much of a reason to do that, but I think it's at least a conversation to have of like, you know, what are we going to do? You know, are we cool with just leaving every individual like to each their own and letting everybody figure out their own path, or should we kind of collectively hive mind what a better approach to this is? Maybe going to either another silhouette or just trying to better to understand and reach out to some of the companies. I don't know.
I think people have to take logos and branding more serious, right? Because the logo and the brand is kind of like the face of the company. So you doing an official logo for anybody, whether it's like Pepsi, Coke, or anything, is different than you painting a character. You see what I'm saying?
Why do you say that?
Because
I see what you mean, like a Pepsi logo versus Goku.
Yeah,
essentially. Yeah, I see what you mean.
So people have to be careful in that regard, because like also when you see that logo, it can come off like it's an official design.
If it looks good, you know?
If you watch Dylan's tutorials, it will.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's funny. Jar was posting that. He's like, I've worked with some big brands. Pepsi was one of them. He did a kick-ass pair of Pepsi shoes. Like, and Joe Schmo scrolling on Instagram might think, what the heck? Pepsi's releasing an Air Force One. Like, it was a cool pair of shoes. And yeah, super unfortunate. We'll have Jar on the pod when the
actually I'll reach out to him right after this. Yeah, because it'll be a couple weeks after.
So I think his input will be best for this, but let's not spend too much time on it because it'll be good for the episode. But what are some things you think artists need to do so that they're not so heavily dependent on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't feel like your life, the rug
Right.
was pulled up from under you. I know something Brandon from Painter Thread has advocated forever, which I'm sure a lot of artists aren't doing, but having an email list.
Yeah, I was actually literally going to say that. And this is definitely you know, as I say, not as I do type situation, because I have not done a good job of the business side of things, but I do think that in an email newsletter from back from the days whenever I was running the brewery or managing the brewery, that was like the only way anybody got information. Like we had all the social medias, but really it was just a newsletter every week or every couple of weeks of like 250 people that we just send out the brew list, what was new, what was going on. And those people are super valuable. Actually, it's interesting too. I haven't explored this, but something popped up from Alma from Vaname Sold that was like, I can't remember what they called it, but it was like a community post.
Oh, broadcast channels.
Yeah, broadcast channels.
Yeah.
I don't know do you know what those are? Because that feels like it might be a cool way of doing a newsletter. Obviously, it's still on Instagram, but it might be a better way of getting people's emails as opposed to just putting out a post.
Huh?
Yeah, I think, but I think when you clicked it, it wasn't even available to use yet. And it said like, you could sign up to use it. At least that's what it did for me. But I think it's like, how kind of on your Instagram stories, you can have close friends, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of something like that. You could have certain people in a broadcast channel. And I think you could have a couple like people that are like, we could have an Inspiriment broadcast channel, and it could be the three of us, and we're posting to people that watch our show or whatever, things like that. I think it can be more than just one person and stuff,
Okay.
Is that new?
It's not officially out everywhere, but yeah, I saw Adam Mozeri posting about that a while ago.
So do you think that has anything to do with them demonetizing reels now?
I know I was gonna say that's the next topic. Yeah.
Wait, do you want to hold on to that before, so we can address what you asked previously?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Keep that in mind though. But the other thing I was gonna say was on top of a newsletter, I think just a website in general, because you can get also Twitter, by the way, is one of my favorite platforms. I think it's incredible for keeping track of people. They're also much more lenient, I guess. I mean, depending on who you ask, because I know a lot of like conservative people that have had a lot of problems with Twitter, but for an artist, they're pretty lenient with what you can and can't do. And so yeah, Twitter is great. I think Linktrees, and especially a website with a newsletter, I feel like is a good way of at least recovering easier if you do lose a platform like Instagram. What about you, Sean?
Maybe cons. I mean, that's something that I'm thinking about. I'm working on more, just pounding the pavement. I guess more in life interactions, especially locally, and just trying to build up a reputation and stuff more locally, because I think you can get a lot of beneficial things from local work. Whether it's your local sports team, if you're fortunate enough to have that, it might be restaurants that might want something.
It's a good point.
Local, maybe shoe boutiques or something. So yeah, I think one thing for me, it's hard, but just get out locally and just meet people more so in my area that have no idea of who I am.
Interesting. Nobody says YouTube, the single most vulnerable platform.
But YouTube, bro, I don't know, man.
Right away, you post a thumbnail saying my account got banned.
True. That's actually true.
Opportunity.
That's a good point, actually. Damn. Yeah. I mean, dude, I could be convinced of YouTube pretty easily, I think. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
You mean as far as using it for your brand?
As far as using it for your brand, as far as when this arises, like it's just not, neither of you guys went to, well, I think that you should never have your bucket of Instagram full when you only have 1 gallon of water. You need to disperse it, be on other platforms. But I still think even with all of these other platforms, I still think most artists would consider Instagram their most important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's your portfolio.
So yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Like, I listened to a podcast with the original founder of Instagram, and he was talking about when he first started it, it was a photo app, and it wasn't until like they did that really well. It was that.
Is that guy not involved at all anymore, Zach?
No, he's not.
He completely sold everything.
Yeah,
okay.
totally sold to Facebook.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
it was when that happened that Instagram kind of went through an identity crisis because they were doing really well with that. But when Facebook bought it, obviously they wanted to grow it because they bought it for such a massive amount.
Yeah.
And the growth of Instagram was like linear whenever it was focused entirely on being a photo app or photo social media. But when they started trying to do all this extra shit, then that's whenever it became a lot more volatile. So now they're chasing numbers. And that's kind of the issue with Instagram now, is for a long time now, it's just been essentially Facebook trying to min-max your attention, just like TikTok is, just like, you know, a lot of YouTube, the YouTube algorithm is in many ways. So yeah, it's interesting because the platform has essentially abandoned, you know, what we all use it for in a way as far as the algorithm goes, but it's such a great opportunity if you're willing to pivot and you can be liquid with it, that there's not really a reason for it not to be used. It's just, I guess my point being, it's interesting that it's still like artists' go-to platform when there's other platforms you can you know, highlight your pictures and your art, you know.
That is interesting.
Like what?
Well, I mean, I think Twitter's amazing.
Okay, so my question about it, do you really go to Twitter to look at pictures of art, or to kind of just see what's going on in the world or current events, or to, you know, catch up on drama?
Yeah, you're right.
Option B.
Yeah. Whenever if I was going to go look at pictures, I'd still go to Instagram for sure. Like if I wanted to look at somebody's art. That being said, I think that, yeah, no, you're totally right. Yeah.
Instagram, you get to see what people are doing. Twitter, you get to see what people are thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people are probably slightly more interested in what people are doing on a day-to-day basis. That's just sort of the world we live in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I do see the value of YouTube a lot more now, though.
Well, see, it goes hand in hand though, because I've been seeing more and more videos of, like, I just watched a video on guys talking about how YouTube, but social media in general is kind of just, you know, shitting on artists, and I was just like, wow, bro, that's crazy.
How so?
Wow, bro, that's crazy.
I think one of the main points was, you know, with the attention spans of people more so are into content as opposed to quality art, right? So somebody can do something that, I mean, people, you can consider art to be anything, but you guys know what I'm saying. Like,
Yep.
I can just do something cheesy, but it could be entertaining, and I can put an art hashtag or label on it, and people will see that because it's trending, as opposed to somebody who does some intricate design because he doesn't get the impressions right away. Because another example he brought up was, when you look at that art that moves you, a lot of people just like to admire it in silence. They may not comment on it, right? You go to an art gallery and you're looking at a piece, you don't talk, you soak it in, right? And that doesn't mean the person is not in love with the art. It's just that's how some people receive it. And it's like the same thing with art. When it comes maybe a picture or video, some people may not say, you know, with the crying emojis or the fire emojis, because they're absorbing it in a different way, but because they didn't engage with it, your impressions aren't as high, so they don't show it to new people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was like a 30-minute video. It was just like, got me thinking, bro.
I think a follow-up to that, Sean, is certainly goes into everything that we talked about in one of the last episodes, where we were talking about content versus artist, all that type of stuff, because as you said, there can be pieces that move you or make you feel an emotion, but sometimes it might invoke an entirely different emotion if you get to see the journey of creating that piece versus just seeing the final product. Because sometimes just seeing the final product, you don't know what goes into it. It doesn't feel as extravagant. Just a quick scroll. Sometimes seeing the journey, sometimes the content can make you feel more or feel different or evoke something or make it feel much more cooler isn't the word, but make you appreciate it more. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you see that process, and that might increase engagement and stuff. Well, I think all that stuff's true. That's why I sort of was, leaning so much onto that content side, last time we talked about this.
Interesting video, man. Gets your wheels turning.
Yeah. Oh, so actually I wanna pivot if it's cool with you guys, because so you're right, Dylan. A couple episodes ago, we talked about a lot of social media, and I think we all very frequently talk about the negatives of social media and being an artist. And I think with the beginning of this conversation, we talked a lot about that with colleges too. But I think that one of the most incredible things I've ever heard in my life is happening to a collection of artists. And have you guys heard of the Dear Moon project? So Elon Musk is making a new spaceship called Starship, and he opened up 9 spots to go to the moon, to orbit around the moon. One Japanese billionaire who was the founder of a online fashion retailer called ZozoTown, I think, biggest online fashion retailer in Japan. He bought all 9 spots. And instead of asking his friends or business partners or whoever family to go with him, he decided to hold not a competition, but a screening of the world's artists. Anybody could apply. There was over 1 million applicants. And through the screening process, he chose 9 different artists from around the world to go to the fucking moon.
It's badass.
Is that not like what, dude? That is like, for artists. I think of 2 things, right? One is there's a huge variety of people who chose. Like Steve Aoki is going. There was like photographers, some a Bollywood dancer. There's like all sorts of stuff, right? They asked the guy why he did this, and his response was, imagine the kind of art Basquiat would have made if he went to the moon. And that, to me, made me feel like artists were the most important thing on the planet. I was like, that was this guy's mindset. If you could take anybody to the moon, he was like, just artists, because I want to see the kind of art the world can get from this experience for those people.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for us, bro.
Well, I mean, good on him doing that. That he appreciates art in that capacity.
So my question to you guys, and the reason I bring this up is because I want to know, I oftentimes like kind of struggle with seeing the value of art on a day-to-day basis. Where like I can step back and see it, but sometimes it's kind of tough. Like what do you guys think is so valuable about what we do that somebody like this would be urged to spend so much money and this amazing opportunity just on giving people the opportunity to make art?
Emotion, art makes you feel something. I'm sure this guy has been plenty of times. He's seen art from different artists. Sounds like across different mediums, music, painters, film, potentially, that just makes you realize art is what brings joy to the world. You know what I mean? And art is everywhere. Cooking is art, watching film, what you watch on TV, stuff that you'll see on social media. It's art,
Yeah, so you think it's emotion. Yeah, it's do you think that that's the key purpose of art, is just to evoke emotion?
I struggle. That's kind of too big brain to me to say that that's like the purpose of art. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to, put it to one word on what the purpose of art would to be. So I don't know. Sean?
Let me see. No, because like when you said that about the space thing, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like something hit me like a ton of bricks. And so I'm trying to like process it because, being transparent and honest, it's like lately when I look at the stuff that I make, I'm not moved by it. And I don't know if that's why I've been struggling with inspiration like the last couple of weeks, is because when I look at the stuff that I make, it's like, okay, there's no feeling, there's no emotion, there's no like, I don't know, there's nothing tied to it for me right now. And so when you said this statement of like, imagine what Basquiat would have did if he went to the moon, it kind of like it was instantly like an original, making stuff that you want to make how you want to make it. Because when people think of artists in that way, they think of people that are making original stuff. Not saying doing other people's IPs is bad, because we all do it, or I mean I do at least. But it's different when you're creating something you want to create from the soul, I guess. Because Basquiat wouldn't come back down from the moon and then paint Goku. He would
Right.
paint what he felt like he wanted to paint. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just
Probably why some artists do psychedelics and stuff,
man, I don't know.
to see different things.
Yeah. So like the whole emotion thing, I'm like dealing at times, like maybe that's too deep for me, because sometimes like if I do anime characters, even though it's original, it's not really going to, bring on any emotion.
Right.
But is there an emotion that I can bring on maybe through the way of storytelling? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, it's a lot to process, because, when a lot of times when people talk about like art and what real art is, quote unquote, it's usually, pieces that evoke emotion. Like you feel something when you see it. So I don't know. I don't even know
Well,
how to answer the question, bro. I'm just rambling.
no, dude, that was amazing. I completely I completely understand. First of all, bro, I think that is your opinions are super valid on that, because I've had that many times. Actually, recently, the part of the reason why I haven't been posting much is because I, even with doing original art, I genuinely believe part of the reason that everybody does art, and I will say everybody, is to figure out and satisfy something about themselves. It's that like personal freedom of like figuring out not only like, oh, like fuck yeah, that looks good, I'm gonna keep doing that, like what is, like I didn't realize I liked something like that, that experimentation, but also like developing, emotionally, and for some people like intellectually, for some people, whatever it is, it's that like progression and wanting to be better and like improve as a person, and then communicate whatever your passion is while you're improving through art. And I think that's where the emotion comes from, is you wholeheartedly communicating in the best aesthetic way possible who you are in your unique perspective. So I completely understand what, like, I felt the same way about commission work. I really struggled like enjoying myself, because I was like, there's no self-expression to me. I'm just regurgitating. I'm essentially a printer. Which is why I wanted to bring this up, because I was like, it's beautiful. It was really encouraging to me to like, I started looking at these people's works and understanding why were they the ones chosen. And it really, all that it was just they committed so hard. Like one of the photographers went to an unknown island for years and literally just photographed these people that nobody has ever seen before. And then you think about that, you're like, oh, that's really cool. But like you think a step further and you're like, okay, how the fuck did they find the island? Why did they choose to commit years of their life to these people that nobody gave a shit about? Like they didn't do it for Instagram or virality. There's nothing behind it other than like purely their expression and their passion of like, for whatever reason, they just wanted to photograph these people. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck what it is that I really want to photograph.
That passion project, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the medium for you that fulfills you the most, that, sort of evoke? I'm not saying that you do, but what medium do you consume for emotion? You know what I mean, Sean? And I'm guessing it's probably music for you. Would you say that?
Oh yeah, I listen
Yeah.
to a lot of music. Yeah, bro, music.
Yeah. For me, I'd say film, watching movies. What about you, Zach?
Dude, I'd say film and music.
Okay.
I think, but honestly, music trumps all for me.
Mm.
Music makes me cry. Like if I hear film does too, but usually it's because there's the right music at the right time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, and that's why we talked about Instagram and TikTok letting you use music is such a huge blessing because I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that like
Emotion.
music, yeah. And getting to pick it, you know.
Zach, what are your 3 favorite movies of all time?
Ooh,
I don't have a gauge on you. I don't know where you're gonna go with this.
all time, bro. I got one. Wait, okay, I'll start with one. Miracle on Ice.
Nice.
Fucking
Nice.
banger movie,
Nice.
dude.
Zach,
Oh
were
my
you
God.
were you into Page Master in the 90s? The 90s film?
No, I wasn't. I know what it
okay.
is, but I
Okay.
wasn't. No.
Seems like one that you might have liked.
Maybe I'll have to rewatch it again. Fuck. Okay, wait, go to somebody else. I can't think of my other two right now.
That's all right. I was just curious for yours because I don't have a gauge on you.
I'd say I'll say
Sean's
some.
a classy guy. Sean likes good movies.
What the fuck is that supposed to be? What do you
Sean's gonna say 3 good movies.
Shaw-
Zach, yours are gonna be out of this world. I have no idea what you're gonna say. You started with Miracle on Ice.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay,
Sean-
wait. I have another one. Okay, wait, and now let Sean go because I can't take this slander right now. I like good movies too. Okay, fucking Crash. I don't think you guys have seen that because we talked about this before. Crash is an amazing fucking movie. And if I had to go a third, I'd probably say
Crash. I have to think of if I've even seen that one, man.
please watch it if you haven't, bro. It's really emotional though. I would
Is that-
warn you.
Who's in that?
Sandra Bullock, Don Cheadle, fucking I think Denzel Washington's in it.
Okay, I don't think I've seen it.
And then you know what, dude? Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
See, I knew it.
Fucking classic.
I had no idea what you were gonna say, but I knew it was gonna be something wild.
I've played the Bubble song from Shark Boy and Lava Girl on repeat probably 300 times in the car going to...
Oh my God.
Oh, what
Sean-
about you boys?
Sean,
Yeah.
are you a Tarantino guy? Are you gonna start us off with Pulp Fiction?
I like Quentin Tarantino, but no.
Okay. Not a huge fan.
I like his
Just
stuff,
okay.
but not like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have
He's a different flavor.
because I'm one of those people to where even though I really like something, I can't constantly keep watching it. Like once
Yeah.
I've seen it, it's just like it gets boring after that.
Gotcha. Yeah,
But
it
if I had to
mesmerizes.
pick like movies that I know I would watch, if it's like I see it on TV because
You
maybe
can hop in
for
at any
nostalgia
point.
reason, it's probably like number one. It has to be probably like Coming to America
Okay.
because
All right. So you're an Eddie guy.
I mean,
So
Coming to America. bro, is
Sean's
classic,
top
bro.
3 are gonna be all 90s. They're gonna
I
be
mean,
all
baby.
90s.
And then every single one he's gonna say, I bet Zach hasn't heard of that.
Bro, come on, he has it. You probably never seen. Coming
Oh
to America.
man.
No, I don't even know what that movie is in your
Oh,
defense.
come
so
on, bro. See, I can't really pick a Star Wars movie because there's just too many. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they're all-
skip those.
Now, have you rewatched those 10 times each, Sean?
Star Wars, I've
Yeah.
seen them, multiple times.
Okay.
Like I can watch movies more than once, but it's not like if I see it on TV, like I gotta click on it. Like, oh,
So
it's just
so
like okay, I know
you
what
don't
happened.
get
you don't
that.
get a different experience rewatching movies. You
No.
don't watch it differently the second time around and try to find stuff that you didn't see. Okay.
No, it's
I
just
do that
like
with
games
music,
for me,
though.
bro. Like once I beat a game, I don't go
Yeah.
back and play the game again. Bro.
Sure.
Like once I beat it, I don't
I
care
agree
about
with that.
100% completion. I
Yep.
don't care about me finding new secret
Yep.
doodads because at that point, I done beat
Yep.
the game. I don't care about no secret doodad.
Yeah.
I agree with
I
that.
don't know.
But I do that with music just to budge in because I think that's a key difference too. Is I'll listen to a song a million times.
Oh yeah, I
and
can do that with music.
And every time I listen to it, I'll find
Yes,
either a
okay.
new line or a new
Yeah,
cadence.
music, I can.
Oh yeah, bro,
Yeah.
absolutely.
With movies, I loved rewatching them because I try to see now that I know the end in mind. I know what the destination
Okay.
is. I try to really break down what the director's doing and what was he setting up for me. What did this scene mean 15 minutes in, and how did this tie into the end and things like that that you can't necessarily catch on your first go around, you know?
Yeah, so I'm not going to say of all time, but I think 3 of my favorite movies I would say is Coming to America, The Dark Knight, and then Gone Girl.
Oh, dude, I honestly, I'm right there with you. Not Coming to America, but I would put Gone Girl damn near that high too. That's a perfect movie.
Yes, Gone Girl.
Can
So
somebody
good.
tell me what the fuck Gone Girl is?
Dude,
Ben
David
Affleck, bro?
Fincher. David Fincher, the greatest, one of the greatest directors of all time.
Yeah.
It's based off a book by, I think her name is like Gillian Flynn. She's really popular in terms of an author, but holy smokes.
What is it about? Like, because I love film. I'm down
Dude,
to watch it.
Bro,
like,
it's a great movie,
don't
dog.
look up anything. Just
watch it.
Where can I watch it?
It might be on Prime or Hulu. I'll try to give you like
bro.
one sentence without spoiling anything. It's about a chaotic relationship.
Ben
Gone
Affleck,
Girl.
bro.
Yeah, Ben Affleck is so good.
Is it drama?
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I
Drama,
love dramas.
thriller.
Oh,
Dude.
you're still, dude. I'm
Dude,
all
and-
in. That's one of my favorites.
And David Fincher, man, one of my favorite direct. Oh,
I'm
so
in.
good. Are you a Boy
fucking
Meets
in.
World guy? You're not
Me?
a Boy Meets World guy, right?
Who,
Me or
me?
him?
Yeah, Zach.
Okay, I was like, you can't just say
Zach,
yeah.
My bad.
No, I've never seen
Okay,
it.
never mind. Because it's funny. There's a character. Oh, you've never seen it. Jesus Christ. Never mind. There's a character in the first couple seasons. He's the nerd. His name's Minkus, and all of a sudden he pops up in Gone Girl as a cop, and it was like the first time I had seen him in 20 years. It was hilarious to see.
Dude, I actually, so I wonder, we're talking about films, right? Just because immediately, since we were just talking about, the different medias and whatnot, immediately I think like, holy fuck, bro, maybe that's the key. Like, because I've been exploring using different mediums with 3D and whatnot, but can you imagine a project that has like you collaborate with a singer and a dancer and a VFX and film person? Like, you create a little like mini creative studio for a project, and instead of making it for a week, and making one pair of shoes and moving on, you make it like a fucking 6-month project, and you sell like fucking all sorts of stuff around it. That sounds like it might be the goddamn key to me. Yeah, like imagine how you'd feel after that, bro.
Yep.
Crazy.
Good
Fucking
stuff.
crazy.
Zach, please watch Gone Girl today and report to us, man.
I will. I promise.
Good,
I was just thinking about how I was gonna watch a movie tonight.
It's so good, man.
Yeah, bro. Gone Girl's the jam, bro.
Hell yeah. Hey, actually, this is a beautiful place to end this too. Anybody that's been listening this far, let us know your 3 favorite movies in the comments. Also, any thoughts that you have on the Dear Moon project, because I was fucking stoked to hear about that. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the project.
What about some quick final thoughts on Instagram Reels money?
Oh,
canceling?
right. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Your thoughts, Zach?
Well, I don't make any fucking money off of them anyway. So to be honest, I don't really give a shit. I actually
Does it surprise you? Does it upset you?
Neither, to be honest. I don't.
Okay.
I think for as long as they've been out, they've just been trying to do whatever they can to get more people to use them. And to my knowledge, I think that even though more people have, then it's failed in comparison to TikTok still. So the fact that they're abandoning that ship and not encouraging, content creators as much, I guess, is what it is.
I think they might believe a path to monetization for creators is more so the what's it called when you like allow subscribers, people to be a monthly member. That's what it feels like. Subscriptions, yeah. So I don't. It's unfortunate because it seems like every platform is trying to garner new ways to pay their creators, and then to hear, Instagram is taking away one is almost surprising. Just in terms of
the biggest problem with Instagram is you can't do that, but then just delete people's accounts without any kind of a warning. Because that's why I haven't set up any kind of subscription, because it's like, why am I going to take time to set this up, tell people to come over here from Patreon to then, if they decide to just delete somebody's page, and I just lost my subscription and my page.
Yeah.
So it's just like, bro, I ain't doing that.
I totally forgot about Patreon, but to answer your question way back when, Dylan, I think Patreon might be an amazing way to not be so reliant on Instagram either. Like
For sure.
you can post content. It's essentially a newsletter. Like you have communication with the people that subscribe to you.
Yeah.
So that's actually a good point. I set up a Patreon, but I haven't ever promoted it.
Patreon.com/colormefresh.
Yes,
Check it out this
sir.
Yeah.
Zach, so
Hit me
what
on
is
the ones and twos?
this might not be something that you blatantly just don't care about, but what is Bald Boys Design's path to getting paid for your content? Or is that not something you care about?
Well, to be honest with you, ideally I'd get paid in other ways other than my content, so I can just always post whatever makes me happy.
Sure.
So it doesn't become a source of stress for me. So actually I'll tweak that question just a little bit, because as far as like getting paid for my content, I have ideas for content, but they're not necessarily ideas of like maximizing getting paid for them. But as far as getting paid so that I don't have to get paid for my content, what I'd love to do is continue. We talked actually a little while ago too about the business. We had that whole episode about fleshing out that side of the business, and that is very much so still the path that I'm going. So I'd love to keep, like, I'm making a pair of shoes right now. I'd love to keep making shoes, selling shoes, t-shirts, like working with other artists to do. I was thinking about doing ceramics and having just prints, like a shop's worth of items available, as well as having the creative studio on the side is the goal. So, but to be honest, yeah, content wise, like I've been thinking about caving in and doing much more tutorial work, and I guess
why do you consider that caving in?
Well, caving in for me, because I just not that I don't see like value in it, because I really do, but that I always held on to kind of the dream of creating content I want to create and having it do well. And I guess caving in, yeah, I guess that's why. Not caving in as in like, oh, I'm giving into the algorithm, but caving in more is like, all right, I'm going to accept that this is the way that the style of content I'm going to make now, caving into myself, really. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Yeah. What about you guys? What's the next step for maximizing getting paid on your content? If that's what you want to do.
Quit being a bum and hire a videographer.
Let's fucking, dude, how long has it been now, Dylan?
Too long, man. Too long. Too long.
What about you, Sean?
I have no idea. I mean, I just love to just be able to keep creating stuff. I guess it'd be like Dylan, hire a videographer.
Yeah.
Because I have no problem, with people showing people my process. It's a lot when you have to do the recording and paint and create at the same time, bro. So the editing, I'll deal with if I have to. It's the, especially when you're tight on space, the camera gets in the way. I have all these cables everywhere. I'm like, yo.
I feel that.
Yep.
I think that's kind of why I was saying too, like, my focus isn't really on maximizing. Like, I want to grow on social medias, but maximizing like revenue is kind of, it's like putting the cart before the horse. Like, I don't even have an audience to understand what I should be maximizing. So, and also I think I kind of hold on to the pipe dream a little bit. The color me fresh dream of, taking good photos of great art and getting reposted on accounts. So
yeah, it must be nice.
Yeah, it must be fucking
dream.
Nice.
Yeah. What are you talking about, bro? Y'all get reposted?
No, I don't get. You think I get reposted?
Yeah, you think I get reposted? Quit playing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can't get reposted if I don't post. All right, boys. What's up? No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's a wrap.
Okay. All right, everybody. Hey, thank you guys so much for listening to this. I hope you enjoyed the episode and got some value from it. As always, if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us a lot. Now, we've actually been growing on all of our social medias, thanks entirely because of you guys. So I appreciate it. Please keep the love coming if you're enjoying the episodes. We try to make everyone better than the last and get new guests on. I hope you enjoyed the last episode and you'll enjoy the next. And we'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Peace.